Try to record this part, because of the sake of people who have not set this up on their computer before, they can look at the video later to set it up. All
Oh,
right. So, if let me repeat myself again.
okay.
So, if it's the first time, this is the first time you're using Git on your computer, it's going to ask for your identity, who you are, your email address, and probably your username, so that you can use that to try to connect to your remote repository that is on GitHub or whatever it is, Bitbucket, whatever it is. It will try to use that to connect to that place. So, uh, and also it's going to attach it to your commit messages so that the person, if you are committing, your name will be there as the one that committed that piece of code. So it's useful to understand who is working on what. All right, so it will ask for it, and the way to do it is to do config. So the command that we are writing here is git config add user.name, then space, then in quotes, you write the username that you want to use inside the quotes. Yeah, so you can press enter after you've written that.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to add an email address also, and that email address has to tally with the email address of the GitHub account that you are using. So the same procedure. So
So,
you can click on the other side. The other side that you want to click on the other, that one. Click on profile.
mm,
You should be able to see something here. Can you scroll down a little bit? Okay. Scroll up and go to edit. Edit profile. Interesting.
let me, I think I should be able to recognize the email that I use anyway. So, will I just type the email straight?
Yes, you can type it. So no, you do git config add. This time around it'll be user.email.
Okay. It complete.
Remember, it will be inside the quote user.email, then space the email inside a quote.
User dot,
Email, email.
the email will be inside the code, or
No,
both
just
user and,
write email. Email.
okay, email.
Yes. Then space quote. Yes.
Then enter.
Yes. You want to check what you have configured. Um, so what you have done right now, there are two types of configuration. I mean, email and username configuration that you can do. You can do one that is specific to the project that you are working on. And you can do one that is global. The one that is global, if you open another project, it will apply. But what you have done right now is the one that is specific to the project. So if you check, if you want, you can check what you have set up by writing git config, um, git config, then user.name. Just press enter. So you see
Oh,
that now. Write this again. Do git config dash G for global, then user.name. No. You write user.name.
sorry.
You can press up arrow key on your button. It will bring out your latest command. Yeah, then space user dot. Email. Is that dot main? Yeah. Yeah, press enter.
Okay.
Hold on. One sec, please.
All right.
Uh, oh, so that dash G, change it to instead of dash G, use global. So you can press up arrow key, then spell the global out.
Okay.
Global, yeah. All right, press enter. All right, so it's dash dash, sorry, double dash. You see that nothing came out.
Yep.
All right, so this means that you have not set anything for your global. You have only set, and what you have set is particular to this project. If you open another project, you will need to do this all over again.
Mm.
So yeah, so you've set up those two things. Then you can try to do that git commit again. You can just press up arrow key till you get there.
Bitcoin.
You've passed it. That's it.
This.
Yes,
You enter, right?
yes. So it has been committed. If you run git log, you will see your history now. You know, when we ran it before, nothing came out. It was saying that you don't
Mm.
have any commits. Just press enter. So now you have one. And you can see the
Yeah.
message there, git init. You can see your username and your email, and then the
Mm.
date that you commit, date and time that the commit was made. Then you have a commit hash. That's alphanumeric number after commit.
Yeah.
That is your unique identifier for that exact commit. If you need to go back to the state that
Mm.
this framework or this code is right now in the future, you can one sec, there are people in the if you need to go to the state that you are right now, maybe in the future you have made a lot of changes, you have done a lot of things, and you're not getting errors that you don't understand, and you want to come back to exactly how your project is right now, you
Mm.
can use this commit hash to get there. All you have to do is write git checkout and then the first seven digits of this number, and they will take you back to this current place.
Okay.
All right, so you've committed. The next thing you want to do is be able to push to your remote repository because everything you are still doing is still on your local. Now, I want to push you to the remote repository that we've linked. How do you know that we've linked it? You can write git remote dash v. You'll see the repo that you have linked.
Dash Git
V.
V.
Yeah, press enter. So that's the URL of the repo that you have
Okay.
linked. And that was
Mm.
the first command that we ran. That
Yeah.
git remote add origin. Yeah.
Okay.
So next thing you can commit, I mean you can push. So you can do git push. So I want you to press enter after this. It will not go. It will tell you one thing. I want you to see it.
Okay.
So the reason why I did this is because everything that you're doing with Git, it has to do with branch. Branch
Mm.
is your own space that you are working on. If I'm
Okay.
joining your repo now to contribute, I will be on another branch. Ideally, we should not be working on the same branch. I'll be on another branch working on my own. You'll be working on your own, and later we can now merge our codes. You get
Mm.
so
Yeah.
everything that you are doing is on a branch. Right now, you're on main branch on local, but on your remote is empty. There's nothing there. You don't have a branch there. So you need to issue
Mm.
a command from your local here that will trigger the creation of the same branch on your remote. And to do
Okay.
that, he has already done it for you. That git push dash dash set dash upstream, you can copy that whole line and paste it. There's a shorter version of it, anyways, that you can write, and that's the one I basically use. Instead of dash dash set dash upstream, I replace all of those with only dash u, and it still does the same thing. No, no. Git push dash u,
You
then space origin main. So if
enter.
you press this, it should prompt you to log in if you have not used it before. It should open up a window for you to log in into your GitHub.
Okay. Um,
Sign in with browser. It's okay. You have to put in your password. Oh, it has already, because you have already logged in on the browser, so it's fine. Just authorize.
what is the,
Oh, you are using 2FA.
yep,
Okay.
one sec.
Okay. This is fine now. Go back to
All
your code. You'll see that it has committed. Yep. And you see a message there. That second to the last line. Madenike,
new
please, 1
branch.
second. It's a new branch that it created new branch. The first one is your local, and the next one is your remote. So he has created a main branch also for you on your remote.
Mm.
And before that, you will see how he's trying to commit. He compress the data, he writes objects, and then you have zero delta, meaning that there's nothing to compare with. Sometimes when you are pushing, like when you are pushed now, you have something in your remote. If you work on your local now and then push what you have worked on your remote, then you have something in this delta. It's not be zero. It means the difference between your remote and your local.
Okay.
Okay, so this is it. If you go back to your repo now on your the one on the remote, you should see your files there now.
Is still loading?
No, this is not the
Oh,
this is not it.
oh, yeah, 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 that's true.
So you can refresh.
Yeah,
So that's how to push.
okay.
This is how to push for the first time, anyways. When it will not ask you to authorize again if you are using the same computer. It will not ask you to authorize again. You will not have to if you have set up your global configuration for username, username and email.
Mm.
It will not prompt you for that again. But most likely, if you open another project, it will ask you for that. I think you have a question.
And then here I can share global, I can share with people, or I can make it talk about private and public the last time.
Your repo is currently now a public repo. Anybody can
Oh,
search it and be able to see it.
okay.
So this one, you don't need to find collaborator or share collaborator. They cannot find your this thing. But of course, you
Mm.
can still add collaborators. Go to settings. So there are two kind of settings here. No, not that one. That one is your general settings. The repo that you are right now, not there. All those menu at the top, code, issue, and that's where the settings. Yeah, you can click on that. That's your repo settings.
Okay.
All right, that is where you can add collaborators who can push to the code, who can commit to your branch or whatever. You can
Mm.
you can add people here. If
All right.
you wish to manage your visibility, that is change it from public to private or private to public, you can click on that manage visibility on the current window. It's also
Um,
to public, yeah, you can click that to manage the visibility of your repo. Okay.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So next time now, I'll just when I finish any project now, I'll just click on Git push. I don't need to go through all the code again.
You certainly have to go through it. Go through, you have to add
Add,
to your staging area. Then you have to commit that whatever you have in your staging area, then push. Those three things you have to do it. You have to add, commit, then
add.
push.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh my God. So tired.
Um,
All right. What were we doing last time? Does anybody have any questions? This is recorded, so we can go over it one more time, whatever you feel like.
I think Adenike is trying to ask a question. Maybe it's regard this before I'll share my stuff. Mr. Awali, the law that we discussed last week, I think
Yeah,
that one is, I think it's straightforward anyway. I don't know.
yeah, it's straightforward.
Okay. So can I unshare now?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure, you can unshare.
all right. Thank you
Um,
very
yeah, no problem. All right, what I'm trying to do now, where were we? Last time.
I think we were discussing about report. Um, stuff like that. Then CICD. We haven't, we have not talked about CICD.
Okay, that's where what I want to discuss today. I'm looking at the comment now. I didn't get dropped a question. The origin keyword can be used to create any branch we want, right? Not necessarily a main branch. Okay, so those two are they are two different things. Origin origin speaks to your repo, right? Your push pull repo, the repo that you are working with. It usually carries a URL. It's like an alias for your URL, for your remote URL. Whereas branch is a space that you work in. It has is where you do your versioning. So for instance, now your first iteration of code, you can put it in a branch. And maybe after doing the first iteration, you are moving on to the next one. You can create a new branch, and that new branch you are creating will carry everything that you have been doing before into it. and then you build on top of it. So it kind of logically separates your work and allows you to collaborate with other people. So branch is quite different from that. You can create branch anytime, and I'll show you how you can create branch. You can create it on your local, then push to remote, or you can create on your remote, then pull to your local. So just know that when you are sending your work from your local to your remote, we call it push. When you are getting updates from the remote to your local, then we call that pull. So as I explained last week, when you do pull, it's a combination of two commands, which is fetch and merge. Fetch means that it's going to fetch the deltas, that is the difference between your code and the one that you have in your remote within the same branch. You're going to fetch the difference, pull it for you, and then you'll be able to see it, but it's not committed. It's not really on your local. You can remove it anytime. Now, after you've inspected it and feel like, okay, let me now match it to what I'm working on, then you can run the command git match, and then it matches it to what you currently have on your local. Uh, okay, okay, that's that. So we go into GitHub Actions. Try to let me share. Is my screen visible? All right. This is how you get to Apple. Isn't that this one that we pushed last time? Maybe it's
No,
not.
not this one. Not this one. The other code. Yeah, I think it's this.
Okay. So I'm going to confess I'm a bit rusty with GitHub Actions. It's been a while that I used it. You know what I used it? The one I've used recently now is Harness and uh, Jenkins. Yeah, but the concept is pretty much the same thing. The concept is the same thing. So what do you mean by CI? That's continuous integration by definition, definition. So when people say CI/CD, there's a lot of terms going on flying around these days that sometimes you even fail to understand the meaning. But I'll just quickly break it down as fast as I can. CI/CD means continuous integration, continuous development. This term really comes out and shines when you have a a multifunctional team that is expected to collaborate and work together. So as you can imagine, whatever solution that you are testing, it has to be consumed by customers, users. And because of that, it has to be placed in some kind of environment where everybody can access it. Case in point, example, there's a lot of examples, of course. Every resource that you can find on the internet is hosted somewhere that you can access it. Right. So if you work within a company will have an environment where they can push things to that only people that have access to that company server can have access to it. And people outside of that environment will not be able to have access to it. There is what we call VPN, also virtual private network. If you're on that virtual private network may be able to have access to some privileged um, resources, that is websites and all of those things. But if you're outside, you will not be able to have access to it. So it's all about environment when it comes to continuous integration and continuous development. And each of those environments, if you look at it from the testing part, from the testing perspective, which I believe everyone here is at least understand, everyone here at least understands what testing is. You definitely and most likely have different environments where you carry out tests. So you might have within your development environment, you might have a dev environment. That is where your developers will work and push their code to, then test before they now push it to a tester, maybe a test environment where a quality assurance engineer can look at it and test it. Now, in ideal situation, that ideal situation is what I'm talking about now because most companies don't work with ideal situation. They would do things that are economical to them, which is of course understandable, right? So you have a test environment. That's second environment I mentioned, where a quality assurance tester will then test and validate. Then after that test environment is fine, we then push to an environment called staging. So staging kind of mimics the production environment. It's supposed to because all these environments I've mentioned before, dev, testing, it's just somewhere that you can quickly test the code. So things like capacity, like computation power, storage, they are not really factored into the equation. They just give as little as possible for you to be able to test the application. But when you are going to production, you have to think about people who are going to be using your application. Say, for instance, on a Black Friday, and you are maybe working for e-commerce for an e-commerce company that has a website where a lot of people are going to be visiting for that Black Friday sales. You definitely know that a lot of people are going to be logging into that website that day. So you want to mimic that production environment and carry out appropriate tests to load the system, see how it functions under stress, right? So you have environment like staging environment, and then when everything is good on staging environment, you can then go to production. Now, I've seen situations in some companies where they still have an environment between that staging and production. They call it pre-prod. Some people will to see it as staging also, but it will have the exact configuration of production. And if you look at what is going on from the dev environment to test environment to staging environment, the only thing that I see that is different between staging environment and prepared environment is that prepared environment is supposed to be like the exact replica of production. And one key difference is that the APIs that you'll be using now become live APIs. From testing, from dev to test to staging, you most likely be using um, test APIs, meaning that they are not production APIs. For instance, a company that is, let's say VTU, they are issuing out cards. They have affiliation with all these with all these MNOs, that's mobile network operators, MTN, Glo, and the rest, and they are able to issue customers VTUs, which I think that business is dead by now. I'm just citing an example. When they are in their testing or dev or staging environment, they will be pointing to internal. That is pointing to themselves. You can carry out all the things that you want using those APIs. They are not actually live. They are not actually issuing out a valid VTU. But what they are doing is that they are testing their internal application if it's working as it should. But when they move to pre-prod, that pre-prod will have limited access. So only few people can access that pre-prod, but it will be using a live APIs, which means that if you vend a VTU, it actually hits the MNOs and collect VTU from them for you. That is cost implication, right? It has cost implication. So it's usually very highly guarded, right? So then after that, you then move to production. The reason why I'm explaining all of this is that I want you to understand how continuous integration and continuous development fit into all of this. If when you are hearing CI/CD, you will also be hearing pipeline. Pipeline. All right. It is not a pipe. It's just a combination of different processes, right? Packed into a single process where you can watch how an application is built and deployed in a single line. You can see it like an assembly line. You can see it. So here we couple this with this, we couple it with this, and then the whole car is manufactured at the end. And then we carry out testing on it. I'm using an example of manufacturing a car. If you have been or seen how cars are manufactured in the late 80s, where Henry Ford, if you're familiar with the auto industry, where Henry Ford simplified the way cars are manufactured by using assembly line. So someone will couple the tire, someone will couple the roofing, someone will couple, and it moves in a straight line like that until the car is completely coupled, and then it goes into testing. And when all tests has passed, it goes into uh it goes into the market. So you can visualize it like that. So that's the way I see pipelines. So um let's talk about, I'm still going there, but I need to explain some things to you so that you understand the basic concept. Let's go into how applications are being built. Someone drums up an idea and they want to make it to production. They want to make it something that is profitable, right? Um, oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, come and look, come and give me work. I'm looking for work. I will do me. All right, so um, uh, all right, so let's talk about how applications are being built. Someone comes about and say, okay, I want to do a, I want to build an application. It's going to, because when you're building things, you have to think about two things: profitability and is it actually helping people? Because that will help your case when you're about to, when you are going to market, when you want to sell. It should actually be solving a problem, particular problem. So you understand the problem statement, you have done all the requirement gathering using maybe a business analyst. You've gathered all the requirements. You know that you have done all the market viability studies and everything. So it is time for now to break down the tasks to developers so that developers will know how to, what comes before what. Now, you mapped out everything, you generate a BRD. Before that, you have done a TRD, that's technical requirement document. So technical people know what to do. For the business perspective, you've generated it so that a user that comes to the application will know each functionality and know what problem you are solving and how to navigate around the application and the functionality, what they are supposed to do. Everything is broken down. Now, developers start working, they have built the first MVP. MVP means the uh what's MVP? Something viable product, minimum viable product. Thank you. Minimum viable product. Please 1 sec. All right, sorry, where was I? Um,
Minimum viable product.
all right, so you've built your minimum viable product to hit the market, and that is what you use to, pitch to your investors, to, to get maybe a little bit of more funding. And also, if it is usable, you can actually ship it to customers so that they can start using it. And then over time, you continue adding to it, adding more functionality, adding more usage to it. So this is the concept of Agile, really. If I don't want to delve into software development processes that much, that is the concept of Agile. For waterfall, they'll have to go one step at I mean, one step at a time. You build everything before you start testing and But for Agile will ship to market and then be iteratively improving the product. So now you've got your minimum viable product. But before you get to that part, there's one critical thing that your developers and your engineers would normally do. And that is setting up something called CI/CD pipeline for the product. How do they do this? They put guardrails everywhere. You know that I told you about environment. So when they are shipping to dev environment, they run those pipelines to make sure that they are properly deploying to the dev environment with the right variables, API keys, and everything. They test on that dev environment. When everything is fine, they still use that same pipeline to deploy to your test environment so that you as a QA can continue to test it. When that is done, also, they use that same pipeline also to deploy to your staging environment until it gets to production. What happens is that you have history of deployments of that singular app. Now, that app at that point would usually have a version. So that version goes through all those phases, and you can have history of how it performs on those stages within the pipeline. It helps you, first of all, to have history of what is going on. It also helps you to deploy easy. So you begin to work with DevOps engineers. They probably will be the one to set up all those pipeline things and everything. Now, but as a QA, you need to know how it's set up so that if you want to tune something, you'll be able to do it without looking for the DevOps engineer up and down. Most likely, DevOps engineers they are not usually plenty in organizations. In a big organization, there might be a lot of them, but in medium to small scale, yeah, maybe one or two of them will suffice. And right now, our companies are requiring QA engineers to also know a little bit about deploying things and writing pipeline scripts. Now, what those pipeline will do for you, let me tell you. As a developer, what you are doing is writing a code. The application that you see on the front end that you are interacting with is after the build, after all your code has been built together and everything come together as one. Now, but most times you would have people working in not in silos really, but they're doing different functions. So you have a backend developer, you have a front-end developer, you have a mobile developer working on the same app, but working on different fronts of the app. When they are done, and that is where branching comes into play. A a a mobile developer is working on a branch, a backend developer is working on a branch, front-end developer is working on a branch. You usually have a UI UX somewhere also, not writing code, but at least telling front end the guideline of how the application will look like. They also use repos too. Now, when a backend has finished, they are in their own main repository, is there like that. The front end is done, is in his own main repository. I will not talk about mobile because mobile doesn't mix with front end really. They usually have their own front end and front end. They most likely consume the same APIs that if you are using APIs, they will most likely consume the same API that front end too is consuming to display data on their own side also. Now, when that is done, you would have the pipeline would then build the application. That is, will combine both the work of front end and back end and deploy it, build it. You will have a file, depending on what technology you are using, maybe a tar file. Everything will be built there. It will deploy it on a server where it will be accessible. And that way you can continue testing it. So that is what it does. There's also testing there, right? From the level of a developer, there's something called unit testing. Developer can write code to test the functions of their application on a granular scale, right? There will be there will be functions that developers can test. If you can see my screen, this is a um this is a to-do app, really. It's just call it to-do app. It's just for I think it was for an assessment and then I modified it to do much more than that. Right. So in here there is no function, there's no unit test, but there are functions. Functions, we talked about functions now. So inside those functions make up developers code. They write classes, they write functions, they have object and everything inside their code. The unit test will test each of the functions, making sure that if they pass something to it, is it returning what is expected to be returning? That's the unit test. Now, those unit tests will run on the pipeline to test that the application on the granular scale is fine. When this deployed on maybe dev environment, if as you have written like an automation test, it will trigger that also. Your automation test will most likely run. Oh, wow. Your automation test will most likely um run after the deployment has happened, because you are not working inside the code, you are working outside the code as maybe like what you can see, what a user can do. So it has to have been deployed first. So it will be deployed on the pipeline. Pipeline will deploy it. You get the URL, maybe from the pipeline also, and trigger your own automation test. Your automation test on the dev will run, and that way, you are covering the regression part of your test. If, for instance, now the developer have done some work before in the past, which you have written automation test for, and now they are working on a new feature that you have not written automation test for. But at least when that work is deployed, even without you touching or saying anything, it will trigger your code to test that product at that level on development branch. It will test it, and it will test what was working before they added that new feature. If there's a problem or something has broken based on the fact that they just updated something somewhere, it might be a library or something that's causing issue. If that has happened, you as a quality assurance tester, you don't even have to touch anything. That thing will see it, and then you can configure notification service for it. Either you can link it to your Slack channel, link it to your Teams channel, or you can send it as emails to the concerned parties. So as soon as the pipeline as soon as your automation code runs on the pipeline and find issues, it's distribute the information out. So you are resting on your bed and something is doing the work for you. Okay. Uh Oluwafemi, you have a question?
Yes, Mr. Wale, is that not where Jira comes in that I need to raise a concern when I notice such like a bug? Then can I raise it on Jira?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Okay.
You can if you want to, but the the sorry. The essence of using CI/CD pipeline for your automation test and integrating with your developers' work is for things to become fast, right? So you need a record where you put those bugs in, so that you can, at the end of the day, calculate bug, what they call this, when a bug get leaked into the production, a bug that you found before it gets to production and maybe it got fixed and was not fixed properly. I think is bug leakage ratio or something. So you can use those data to calculate some things later, but you need a record which you can also put on Jira or any other platform that you are using. But at first, as soon as that issue is discovered by your automation suite, it sends it out to everybody. So the concerned party will start looking at it even without you prompting them to do so. Right. So yeah, that is okay. You tested on dev, everything is fine. When they push to staging also, it also runs the same thing. Unit test, integration test, and then your own test also, making sure that everything is working well. Right. It goes on like that until you get to production. But most times when after a product has been deployed to production, people generally will not run all the tests. I'm just telling you now, people generally will not run all the tests that you've written because you've written a rigorous test. They will do something called sanity test at that point. Sanity meaning that you want to make sure that the core functionalities are working well in production. So that is what most people will use to test in production. Some few years ago, I did a project for one of the telecommunication companies. They were having issues with their mobile app. So what I did for them was to create some kind of cough sanity check in production. So I would, whenever they deploy, that test will run. That is one. And the test will run every hour. Every hour, it generates reports for them. It generates RCA for them. Sometimes if my code is able to reach a place where if my code is able to reach a place where the issue is happening, it will copy it, maybe like a error log, you know, and put it inside the log. So I usually generate three things for them: the report, which is an HTML file, a log file, and a summary file. One second, please. All right. So the summary file is usually what they see when they open the email. They will just list out the error ones, the tests that failed. It will give them the summary, 75% success rate, and then they will see the ones that failed first, the one that got skipped, and the one that passed. So they will see all of those things within the email, and then they can dig further to the attachments to see what exactly was going on. And that is where the automation thing comes into play. I mean, it works beautifully well. Three ways that you can use automation suite. You can use it to shift left, meaning that and that's what I explained earlier. Once a developer drops their code, the automation suite runs, and before they tell you that, oh yeah, come and test, your automation suite is already testing and giving them feedback. All right, and then the middle one is where you want to do regression, making sure that all existing functionality are working well when a new thing comes on top of it. The last one is the post-deployment checks, which is the sanity check that I just explained now. Just wanted to keep that in mind. Okay. Wow. I didn't know I was going to talk like this. All right, so let's dig into this. But you all understand what CI/CD means. It's continuous integration. That is when you are integrating, and then continuous development. When you're continuing development, your people, your developers, and everyone develops, you test, and then you go back again and start adding new features to it. You test, and then go back again, add new features to it, or correct the existing feature. That is how, as far as I'm concerned, that is how most software companies, that's how they develop nowadays. Apart from banks, those ones, I don't know. I don't know when they're going to change. Okay, so like I explained earlier, it's been a while that I did this GitHub flow, but just bear with me. GitHub workflow. That's GitHub Actions. I'm going to try my best. Please don't laugh at me. Okay. Um,
You be boss. Nobody laugh at boss.
I'm trying to look for a good material that I can use on the other screen. Where are those? To have articles. I think I've written such article before if I can find it. Okay, I think I find it. Okay, different test. All right, so it has not changed now. I thought it has changed. So you create a folder. God help me. All right, so you create a folder, a .github folder. All right, and then inside of it, you create another folder called um uh workflows. All right, so and inside of that, you then create your CI, your CI. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating those folders now. On the root of the folder, I can please don't, if you are not comfortable with writing command line like this, it's not compulsory. This is just normal Windows, sorry, folder management commands. You can do without it. You can come here and create a folder like this. All right, so right click here and say new folder. I just like showing off. So you can do .github like this. If you put a dot in front of a file, I think that makes it an hidden file. Okay, so you see it has been created. And inside of it, I'll create a folder called workflows. And what I can do is go into that folder using CD. Okay, I can CD into it. So sorry, there's a dot there. And I'm inside of it. You can see from top on the top here that I'm now inside here. And I want to make another directory, create another directory inside of it. And it's called workflows. Workflows like this. Okay. And I've created it. So if I open up this .github, you will see workflows inside. And inside the workflow, I'll then create our ci.yaml file that we use. So I'll cd into workflows, okay? And then I'll create that file that I'll touch ci.yaml, okay? And I think the name of this is not that important. It has to be a .yaml file, of course. It has to be .yml file, but you can have another name for it if you like, okay? So now that file has been created. Now inside of it, there are things that I'll just write here and I'll explain it one after the other for you. It's so end-to-end component. So let's begin. This is our YAML file. It's a formatted file. If the format is wrong, yeah, install. If the format is wrong, it will not run. I not signed in before. Okay. So may I just install one extension now? Is YAML file extension, YAML extension. It will let me know if that file have errors. Like if there is a tab, a space that is not put there because YAML file is like space. You have to like tab it correctly, format it correctly before it can work well for you. Okay, so let's start. Um, what's the name of what we want to run? I'll just call it end-to-end tests. That's what we want to do. Okay. Now, this on uh this on is important. Remember when I said that when developer pushes their code to their repository, then something happens. It triggers some things. This is what triggers. So we are setting the trigger right now. What do we want to trigger with? Is it that a when they push, or is it that when they match pull requests, you know, we can decide which action to take after that time. So on this one, let's do on push. Okay, let's do on push. What did I do? Require the missing job. Oh, hold on. Drop this. Drop this. And then we can even tell it to say, okay, which branch that is possible. Which branch do I want to push to? So let's say when we push to main branch. Okay. So this is the reason why he's complaining is that he's looking for the job missing. So I'm going to add that now. I'm going to add that now. Jobs. Right. Ah, I feel like accepting this suggestion, but I will not. I'll try to remember and write my own myself. So jobs, um, see that again. I'm just going to write press run. Okay, let's go to the next this thing. Let's go to the next this thing. So I can take this suggestion. That's the name of the test that I want to run, end-to-end tests. And I can do runs on, yeah, this is fine also Ubuntu later. So you want to choose the machine that you want to run it on. There's possibility for you to be able to pick a Windows, sorry guys. There's a possibility for you to be able to choose a Windows machine to run it on. So remember that what you are doing is that you are highlighting, you are saying that you want to be running your test on a separate machine apart from your local machine. This is our computer right now, but we want to delegate that the running of the code to another machine. We just command it to run it at a specific time. But now we have already put a condition there. So if when I finish writing this thing, I push a new change to this branch, this main branch, it will trigger the CI and it will start running. That is what we are actually just telling it to do now. All right. So we are asking it now to run the end-to-end test. All right. And we want runs on. We can use Ubuntu. If you have a version of that Ubuntu that you want to use, you can type the version there. For example, you can do maybe 22.04, for instance. You see, it already, help me with it. If you want it to run on the latest, you can write latest there. But I would choose that 22.04 to remove all kind of ambiguity. All right. So next is steps. All right. Put it down. Okay, steps. First one, give me let's say the name of this thing that I want to do, which is um let's do checkout. Okay. So we want it to check out to the repository, and then we'll use this one right here. But I'll try to use version 4. This is a machine, like a procedure, really. I'm not sure I've shown you what Git checkout usually does. So because of that, I'm going to quickly digress. Because I've not shown you what checkout does. Okay, so um, I mentioned checkout the other time, where I said as when you want to go into an earlier history, maybe on your file here, on your this thing here, you did git log and you got all of this, and I want to go to this initial commit. All I have to do is do git checkout, and then the first seven, or I can copy everything, but the first seven is sufficient. I can pick the first seven letter here, and then do something like git checkout, and do something like git checkout. Then this first seven, this thing here. Okay. I could do that. It would take me back to what my file was at the time when I did this commit. That was on December 7th. Okay. But I've not shown you how you can use it with branch, but it's the same thing. We've only been operating a single branch since we started. So I'm going to create a new branch here right now. Okay. But before I do that, I would have to, okay, so this is how to create a new branch. You can do git branch and then the name of the branch. Let's say I'll call it GitHub actions. So I'm going to call it GitHub actions. That's the name of the branch that I want to create now. If I press enter, it will create it, but it's there somewhere. But for you to bring it out, you can do git branch, just git branch alone, and you will see all the branches that you have. This is just the two main and this. This thing is messing up. Let me clear. I'll clear again, and then I'll run that command git branch. Okay, so this gate branch, so it returns these two for me. The main branch, which I'm currently on, and this is the reason why I colored it green and put an asterisk in front, saying that I'm currently here. Now, I am here in this main branch, and I created this GitHub Actions branch from it. What it does is that it moves everything that is currently inside this branch, this all our files here, it moves it into this GitHub Actions branch. And if I go into that GitHub Action branch, it will be the same thing as the main branch. The only thing is that we don't want to, uh, because now we are doing a new feature on our application and our development, so to speak. We are adding GitHub Action. So I want to put that in the new branch. Okay. So that you know how branch strategies work. Now I've created a new branch. For me to actually go to that branch, I will use checkout to go to do that. So I can do git checkout. Okay. Then the name of the branch, GitHub Actions. That's the name of the branch. If I press enter, you see, it has now switched me to that branch. Okay. So that's what checkout it really means. So I'm going to change this branch's name. I'm going to change it to the GitHub Actions, the branch that we just created. Okay. That is a branch that we want the CI to run on whenever we push to it. All right. So this is fine, right? So checkout would then check out to this because when you go to your repository, your default branch is main. Okay. So this command here, this step right here will help you to check out to your desired branch. so that I can then start working on it. Okay? Make sense? All right, that's what we want to do in this step. The next step, the next step, as you can see, the next step is maybe install the dependencies. Because remember, it's a new machine also. We have to run npm install so that you can install all the dependencies that we have inside our packet.json, all the dependencies that we are using here. All right, and this in turn will call log.json to get the details of the dependencies and install it on that machine that we're running it on. Okay, all right, sorry about that. All right, so even if I put the name of the next thing that I want to do, which is maybe install, I'm just going to say dependencies, install dependencies. You'll see that it's still underlining this thing for me. And that's what I was saying that um for the .yaml file, it doesn't, you will not see curly braces or anything there, but what you will notice is that it particularly concerned about the spaces here, the tab spaces. I've forgotten what we used to call it. So it has to be on this level, like that. And I have to actually tell it what to do. All right, because I want to install dependencies, I have to run npm install, like I said. Okay. We can do uses this. Mm-mm. Yeah, can use something like this. Doesn't like it. Mm-mm. It's
Sorry,
better.
Mr. Wale, what version 5 is he referring to?
GitHub usually have all of these things. So is a Cypress IO for GitHub Actions, GitHub Actions. But let me do without that for now. Right. Let's ask it to run this npm install. Then let me go back to my packet.json, right? And remember that we did this the other time. I don't think it worked properly. Um, but I'm going to do this run. I'm going to put it inside here. You remember this, right? Where we generated scripts. So if I do npm npm test now, it's going to run this command on the command line for me. And it's going, this command, of course, would run all the tests that we have here. We run all the tests that we have here. And for this other one, I was trying to make it run the, make it run the test. And after running the test, I wanted it to generate the HTML report all in one go. All right, but that didn't happen. I have not opened this file since then. All right, so here, this is npx cypress run. This is npx cypress run. That's a test. So I can actually use that inside here, right? I can have it run, okay, and I can say npm um npm test, yeah, just like that. But I can put this inside another thing. So which will be name, which will be run test, and then we'll run this guy. Make sense? So we have one here that will check out the repository for us, check out the branch, and then this one will install our dependencies, and this guy here will then run the tests. Okay, so let me commit this, and let's see. Let me bring my GitHub here. So if without pushing, you see that when I open the branches up here, I only have one branch, which is main. That's because I've not pushed the new branch to the repo, the remote repo. So whatever it is, you use push and pull to synchronize changes between your local repository and your remote repository. On my local here, I have two branches there. But on the remote, because I've not pushed, I only have one repo there. And the code I'm working on right now is not actually here yet until I push. Now, it has this part for actions. If I click on it, I would not be able to see anything. It would just be asking me to start something you know, nothing really tangible, right? But just watch out. When I push what I have on my local to this place, then you will have an icon here telling me that something is running. All right, so let's go ahead and push. So I'm going to do git add first. And because I want to see what I've added, I can do git status. Okay, so I have modified this package.json. Of course, I did when I added this thing here. And then I created a new file. All right. So, okay. So this kind of problem is usually common for, okay. Sorry about that. All right. So, if you look at where my cursor is, I am inside the workflow folder. That is where this command line is. And that's the reason why when I run the command git add, it only added everything that it can find inside this workflow, which is this ci.yml file. This packet.json was not able to add it. If I did not do git status, I will not be able to notice it. But because I did git status, it's telling me that it's able to add this one. But it said changes not state for commit. This is my packet.json. And you can see this dot here, meaning that is in a folder that is ahead. So I have to go back to the root folder, and I can do that pretty easily. So now I'm inside this source labs folder. Now I can then let's do git add again. And then you can see it must have added it. And for me to check, I can do git fact. I can do git status again. And you can see now that both of them are now green, telling me that I've added it. So let's commit, git commit. And I can say add ci.yaml farm. All right, so it has been committed. It has been committed now. The next thing for me to do is to push. So remember how we pushed that time. So if I do git push alone, it will not work. But if I was on the main branch, it will work because the branch named main has already been created on the remote repository. But this is a new branch, GitHub Actions, which is not currently on our remote. So I need to say something for it to understand that it has to create that branch for me and push this code to it. So to do that, I'll do git push, right, dash u origin. Remember what I said origin is the URL of the remote repository, then GitHub actions. So this will create that repo as that branch and push to it. And as you can see, that is done. Let me go back to here. Now I'm going to switch to that branch. Okay, let me refresh first. Okay, so you can see something here. And you can see that it has failure there. That means it tried to run the test and it failed. And we can see details. And this is on the tab, on the action tab. Let me go back here so I'll show you. I can go to actions and then I'll see it there. Mm. So it means that this thing is wrong. The um what's this called? This thing that we're running, something is wrong somewhere, right? We can try to find out. We can try to find out what is wrong. Uh, oh, okay. So yeah, so some people like us that like to experiment and do things. You can see the reason. The job was not started because your account is locked due to a billing issue. I don't know why he wants to bill me. All right, so here's what I can do. Um, Let me see if someone else can do this on their own. It's quite important. It's quite easy. This thing you see right here is what developers use to compare and match. So it's asking me to compare and pull request. So pull request is when you branch out from a branch for you branch out from a branch the way we just did now that we branch out from main. So if you see this now, this branch here, the GitHub action branch, is now different from the main branch. The main branch will not have these GitHub actions folders. That's one. Secondly, the changes that we made inside this package.json, it will not be inside the main branch. We will not have this here. And we can test it out. I can switch to that main branch now by doing git checkout. Check out the main. Once I press this, you'll see that the changes will be glaring, right? So from here, you can see that if I go to that script part, it's not there. And then there's no, this file does not exist anymore. That's why I canceled it. And you cannot find it here anymore. All right. But immediately I switch back to the other one, git checkout, GitHub actions. You see that all of that will come into play. So now we have the GitHub here, and then this has been changed. So there's difference now, but they have the same origin. There's now difference. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Now I need someone to clone this repository and run it on their side.
Can I share my screen and give you what's it called? And give you control
Okay.
because okay, I'm looking for control. Um, can't find it.
Hold on, let me look for it here.
Okay, send this.
Oh, let me go on Google it. I don't have time for all of this. Uh,
Okay, I think I've seen. Should I pick quality text, right?
yes,
Okay.
just check it. I will need you to. Um, uh, okay, I'll need you to create a folder
Okay.
for the project I want to clone.
On
Yeah,
yeah,
on your computer.
okay.
Or have you cloned the project I'm working on before?
No, 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 I've not. I'm just trying to check everything. I've not tested. I've not tried it. Um, do you want me to create on the desktop?
You can do that.
Okay. What do you want me to name it with?
Can name it anything. Naming is not an issue here. Or wait, do I have control here?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Ah, really?
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, what am I doing? No, 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 no. Let me 1 second. I'm trying to get the URL for the repo.
okay.
This is what I was saying the other time, right? So I just cloned. This is not it, though.
Mm. So,
Sorry, I just. Mm.
yeah, not yet. This is mine. This is still mine.
Okay, I think I know what's going on.
Okay.
Let me see that window again. That they have the same name or close to each other.
Okay. Maybe I should.
No,
Can
no
I
need, no,
rename?
no need, no need. What's the equivalent of LS? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. 141. This is mine. So CD into source labs. Yes. Sorry. All right.
Okay.
So here's what I was saying. There is no node modules here, but it's no problem. All we have to do is to do um npm install, and it's going to install everything. And you see, as soon as I type that, node modules came out.
Yeah. Is it because ignore node modules before or what?
Because we ignored it and we did not push it to the repository, so it will not be there. But there's no need for it to be in the repository because
Oh,
the metadata that will need to be created again is inside this packet log JSON and then this packet JSON. If these
oh,
both are here, they can regenerate node modules. Node module is the raw file, the raw code that we are working on, the Cypress file, the Cypress classes and files and everything, all the dependencies that Cypress depend on and everything is inside node modules. It's usually very large, especially if your project is becoming large also. It can go up to maybe like 500 MB, 1 gig sometimes. So it will not make sense to push it to a repository because, say for instance, it's inside my repository now and it's about 500 MB. It will be hard for me to clone it. It will take a long
mm,
time. That's if even if it can finish because when you do git clone, I'm thinking that there is a timeout there. Even if it is downloading, that timeout reach is going to cut it off.
okay.
So you are not expected to push heavy things like that, like media and all of those things to GitHub. All right. So while this is going on, what did I do? I hope I did not close it.
Did you minimize or close?
I think I don't know. Let me do this again. I think I may have closed it. What I intend to do was to close this one. So if I do get branch here to check how many branch that you have, you see, it says there's this branch and this branch. So let's go to the branch that we are working with. So we can do git checkout. Oh, so yeah, let's check out this. You see that
Set of branch.
as soon as we go there, we have everything that we are looking for. Okay.
Mm,
All right. This one finished. Can you please open the window where this guy is saved? Where this file is saved?
which one?
The file that we just cloned. The repo that we just cloned. No, not the command line. The
Are you referring to the command prompt?
no, no.
I don't know which one you are referring to.
I want to do some manipulation. The
Sorry,
Windows
which
now,
one are you?
the file explorer where or maybe on the desktop or on
Oh,
the
you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Or okay, stay here first. Let's go and create a new
Okay.
repo here. because I want it to run on your this thing. Just to copy you.
Okay.
Okay. Take me back to the code. There's no need. Just take me back to the code. All right. So remember this command, right?
Yep.
So this is a bit complicated what I want to do. I don't want you to put mind into it too much. We already have an origin here. We already have origin here before, but I want to add another repo to this guy here. So that's why I said it's a bit complicated, not really complicated like that. So if I do git remote uh, dash v, you see that we already have something called origin. But I want to add another repo to this guy so I can push to it. And you will see the way I will do it. And that's why I said that origin is a nickname for the remote repository. So instead of origin, I can put anything I want there. I'm going to put it as origin 1. And it will still take it. And then now when I want to push, I'll have to add the origin. I'll do git push. I'll do git push origin this repo. This whatever brand I want to use. So if I do that command again, this git remote dash v, you will then see two things there, origin and origin 1. So this is pointing, the first one is pointing to my repo. The second one is pointing to your newly created repo. Uh, you see what I mean?
Mm.
Because this is a new project now. He's asking me for that thing again. So let's do this time around. Let's do it
Username.
global. What did you use here? I think you use Olu
You want me to type it?
okay. Is this what you want to use?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do the same for email.
Okay.
Okay, maybe you should type your email then. Let me remove this one first.
Just
But
QA. Just remove QA. Okay.
uh okay. Press enter. All right. Get push. And you, then instead of origin, I'll have origin one. Right. And oh, before we do that, origin one, man. So this is going to push to your repository now.
Mm.
As you can see, it's already there. So let's go and check it out. Go to your repo, your remote repo.
Okay.
Refresh. Okay. What do we do? Okay. I know why. Can you take me back to the code?
All right.
We ask it to run on main on GitHub branch, but we are now on main branch. That's
Okay.
why it did not run. So we have to adjust our CI. We have to perform everything, get add.
Wow.
Let me see. But there's a UI one that you can use. You can use this guy here, this thing here. So it's saying that stage commit is this, and I can commit here like this. I can just type the message. Instead of git commit and write the message, I can come here, write the message. Let's say I edit ci.yaml file. That's the message. And I can click on commit, and it's going to commit it. Okay. And then I can do synchronize change. It's going to push it. You see that?
Mm.
But the only problem I have here is that because I have two repos here, I don't know where it's going to push it to.
Wow.
Let's
You don't have permission to push.
this is where it's pushing it to.
Oh no.
And so that's why I'm going to just write it here. So it's push.
Original. I think original is too.
Take me to your repo.
Ah, fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's running.
Okay. Finished.
Yeah, everything ran well. No issues. Let's see. You see all the steps I did. You check out the repository, you install the dependencies. Here you will see it will run npm install. It will run npm install. Then the test. Okay. Then it will run the test. And this is the test. You can see. And the post. 1 second, please. I have a call.
All right. So
There are other functionalities that you can do here. Send mail after, there are other things that you can do. This is the simplest form of this thing, the YAML file. There are other functionalities there. You can explore it by yourself. All right. Guys, give me 1 sec. There's someone at the door I have to attend to. Okay, guys, that's it. Oh. Any questions? Yes. No questions, right? Either I'm doing a great job, I'm doing a terrible job.
Ah, well, we'll go through it and so, Mr. Wale, you are not on the WhatsApp group. How can we communicate with you? Sorry. How can we get across?
I didn't get. We'll let you know, Sha.
Mhm.
Start. I don't want to. Alright. Thank you, guys.
So that means we'll finish with CICD, right?
Well, the rest is for you to, if you are interested, for you to do your personal studies.
Okay.
The rest is for you to do your personal studies, but there is a level to what we are doing that we have not touched. Um, there is a lot of things going on with AI these days, and quality quality assurance is not left out, right? So we are also involved. Like everything is moving fast with AI and everything. So and it sorry about that again. So like I was saying, quality assurance is not left out. We are using AI to do almost everything here also, right? I've used AI to explore a site before, if I'm more than one site, do exploratory tests, and after that, the AI generated a concise test plan for me, including all areas I have to touch, positive, negative scenarios, and everything. And I even went further to ask it to generate automation tests based on what it has discovered on the interface, and it went ahead and do that. It's just that sometimes you have to, in fact, all the time you have to know what AI is doing, when it's generating those codes, so that you'll be able to correct some errors because errors will definitely come. It will write tests, and then you ask it to run the test, it will run the test, and everything will fail. So that happens. But all in all, it has helped to accelerate processes. And in our work, it has helped us work less and work smart. So um, Cypress is not left out also. There are two ways that you can use AI with Cypress. There's one that is inbuilt with Cypress nowadays. It comes with Cypress 15. That's CY prompts, CY.prompts. So that one you can use it to to automate your website without writing really not a code. It's just issue commands like, okay, you write in natural language, log into this also website, navigate to the login page, fill in this as the what's it called? As the username, fill in this as a password, click on submit. You are just writing normal natural language. And why when you do that, it's going to actually do it for you. You can generate the code for you if you want, or you can leave it as a prompt and deploy it. So, but the thing with that is that there's still some drawbacks. It's still in what's it called? It's still in testing. Let me just put it that way. It has not gone mainstream yet. So because of that, there are some errors that you might find there. First of all, the one thing I just discovered today is that the locators are really not okay. It picks locator, right? But the locator, the way it picks it is not reliable. I can't really use that. But you can still leave it as prompts. If you leave it as prompts, it will generate the locator on runtime, which means that there is every possibility that it's going to select the right element. It will just pick a shitty locator. Pardon my language, please. Um, Yeah, there's one like that. But the one that Playwright is using, I'm researching now, I think Cypress 2 has it, is MCP. That is what's MCP? Wait, I must remember. Yeah, model context protocol. What it does is that it gives whatever agent, AI agent that is running your test, the ability to have access to both the resource you are testing and of the framework. If you are using Playwright, it will have the functionality to do everything that Playwright can do, like open a browser, click on browser, navigate, all of those things. The same thing applies to Cypress also. It will give it the ability to act as a person, to act as an agent, able to navigate to your site and perform some actions. And it will have access to Cypress commands, the one that we use to open website, the one that we use to click, it can assert and all of those things. So that's the bridge, the middle ground for your resource, because that's where you stand in as a human being. You see what you want to test. You know the framework that you want to use to test. You then write something that will make use of the tool to automate. But now you are now leaving that seat for an AI agent to do it for you. So you would then have access to the all the tools that Cypress brings, all the functionality of Cypress, and then we'll have access to the resource that you want to test as a website or whatever you want to test. So those are the two ways. That's what we'll go over next time, might be tomorrow. I'd like to wrap it up tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. But Mr. Ali, please, before you go, I want to show you something, please. Let me call up my code here. I'm trying to modify it, and I think mine is source labs
No, yours is without S.
without else. Okay. So there's this place. I've run the code before, so I'm trying to modify it, and I'm stuck around here trying to modify. Everything was working before, but here, so, yeah. Now, so this is where I'm stuck. I'm trying to check what I added inside the cart, but on getting here, I can add them here. I can add those items here, but on getting to where I want to actually confirm if they are inside the cart, then I'm having this error. So I can't find them inside the cart. So let me go back to my code. I don't know where I'm missing it.